What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, I hope you guys can hear me. Um, this is one of those videos where um, I think you have to be about my age and older to kind of get this one. If you're younger, you'll be like, "Who is that?" Okay, sorry to hear about that. I don't know who he is. If you grew up in the 1990s, you'll definitely know who I'm talking about. Okay, if you grew up in the 1990s into the 2000s, you'll know who I'm talking about. If you're younger, you're not going to really remember who this guy is. Okay, unless you became a fan of his on his podcast. But this is some shocking news. What's up, Corey Turner? Yeah, this is just broke, and that is that comedian Norm Macdonald, who uh, was a legendary comedian, best known for his tenure on Saturday Night Live from about 1990, I think, 3 to 1997. And ultimately, he's been in various movies over the years, had a television show, frequent talk show guest, had a podcast, has died at the age of 61 after having battled cancer for some 9 years. And what is shocking about that is that that was never publicly disclosed that he had been suffering from cancer. Um, he did not want his fans to know about his illness. Um, and this is shocking, man. When I just saw that, I was like, damn, But Norm Macdonald was one of those guys where you either got his humor or you didn't. He kind of had like a dry, well, I don't know if I'll say dry. Well, how do I want to say it? He had a wit about him, but he came across as if he wasn't trying, but he was still a rather witty comedian. Um, what I remember the most about him was, when he used to do Weekend Update, and I think he was one of the best at doing that segment, and he had many memorable little bits and memorable, sketches or segments. You know what I'm saying? But what he was remembered for was jokes about O.J. Simpson and Michael Jackson or what have you. And it was the jokes about O.J. Simpson that ultimately got him fired from Saturday Night Live because the president of NBC at that time, I think it was Don Ohlmeyer, was friends with O.J. Simpson. And he had warned Lorne Michaels, the creator of the show, to get Norm Macdonald to stop making those jokes. He wouldn't stop. And if I remember correctly, I think it was December of 1997 when he was unceremoniously fired from NBC and fired from the show. But to me, man, Norm is one of those funny guys, man. Like he was in so many different movies. I mean, I'm not trying to say he was in movies like A-list movies. He wasn't. He was one of those guys that was in a lot of those edgy, uh, you know, um, underground movies. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember him being in this movie where I was just talking about this with a friend of mine today, like Norm Macdonald. It's funny. I was talking about him just I think last week with a friend of mine about a lot of the movies that he was in. Um, you remember him, LB? Man, well, I mean, eh, I don't know. I don't know. I know a lot of people may not remember him, but he was in a lot of movies with like he was in the pack with like Rob Schneider, um, Adam Sandler, David Spade, Chris Farley. He was in that generation of comedian. I remember him being in Screwed with Dave Chappelle back in 2000, and I remember him being in the movie Dirty Work with what's his name? Artie Lang and Jack Warden. You know what I'm saying? He was in a lot of, different movies like that. But he was really known for, uh, just being a very witty comedian. And yeah, yeah. Dave Chappelle and Dan DeVito was in that movie. Um, yeah, the Weekend Update from I think from 1993, or I think from 1993 until 97, or definitely 94 until 97. Yeah, he did Weekend Update. And he just would say silly shit, man. You have to listen to him to get him. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember he had this ongoing joke where he would talk about how a Fortune 500 came out with the best jobs of the year, and then he would say, and also the worst job of the year. Once again, you know it, crack whore. And then he kept saying that every year. And then the third year, he said, last year's worst job, crack whore, has been replaced by an even worse job, assistant crack whore. Like he would just say stupid shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, he had a big influence on me as far as what I like in comedy, personally. But you know, it's shocking, man, because I didn't know that he was sick. Um, didn't know it. Yeah, it's funny because Norm would come across like he wasn't like he was the slowest guy in the room, but in reality, what I'm saying, he had observational skills about shit that most people was missing. You know what I'm saying? And he just played the dumb guy, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you this though. I had noticed over the last couple of years that Norm didn't look very well. I noticed he had put on like a lot of weight, and now I'm starting to wonder if that was like side effects of medications that he was taking or whatever. Um, but man, to think that he had been battling cancer for almost 10 years and didn't let that be known at all, and for that to never leak out, he must have told almost nobody that, you know. Um, so I don't know exactly. I know he had the podcast, but I hadn't been following him over the last year or so. So I don't know, whether there were signs that something was wrong recently. But cancer is one of those things, man. You just never know when it could just take a turn for the worse. I remember, what was his name, man? Robert Urich. There was this actor named Robert Urich, and he had cancer. And about 3 weeks before he died, or 2 weeks before he died, he seemed fine. He seemed fine, like he was beating the odds when it came to cancer. I can't remember which cancer he had, but then just like that, he took a turn for the worse, and he was, he passed away 2 weeks later. So I don't know what type of cancer Norm Macdonald had, uh, but yeah, this is surprising, man. I think a lot of you guys will know who I'm talking about if you saw a picture of him. You know what I'm saying? If you grew up in the 1990s, you should be familiar with who Norm Macdonald is. Um, no, he was white. He was white. But he was funny though. He was white. What's up, legendary? Now he was white, but he was funny as shit to me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's because maybe part of the reason why I'm familiar with him is because I was a big fan of Saturday Night Live back in the '90s, in the late '80s and '90s. So all of those guys are familiar with me. Um, some people may not watch Saturday Night Live, but the thing about it is, after he did Saturday Night Live, he went on, I think, to have his own show. I think it was on ABC. I think it was called the Norm Show or something, and that was on for a couple of years. He did a couple of movies. He appeared in a couple of movies, um, but he never quite reached like the type of stardom that Adam Sandler, had. You know, he never quite reached that type of following. Now he has a following. He has people who love his performances, love his comedy, but for some reason he never really took off to the point where he had like that box office um, pull to the point where he could make movies after movies like Adam Sandler did. Right, 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 Mr. Pass. Like he would just like his stories wouldn't think it was going anywhere, but then at the end, like he would put the punchline in, everything would make sense. And I just trip off his style. Like he'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So uh, I went to the gym the other day, yeah, and yeah, I went in the gym and there was a lot of sweating going on in there, you know. Uh, he'll just I don't know, he'll just go on a tangent about some stupid shit, man. Chris Rock, I think Chris Rock is a great stand-up, but Eddie to me was maybe a little bit more well-rounded. Like Eddie was a great stand-up, and he was a great sketch comedian, and Eddie could do different types of he could do various types of humor. He could fit in with. I guess what I'm trying to say is Eddie can appeal to a broad audience base. If you know what I mean by that, right? But yeah, Chris Rock was funny as hell. But Chris Rock just didn't get any. He didn't get any like airtime with Saturday Night Live. I think he was only there for like a year or two, and then he left. I think he didn't get along with Norman. I think he didn't get along with Lauren Michaels, if I'm not mistaken. Dave Chappelle is your goat, Ryan. Yeah, Lou, he died, man. Okay, so Lou know who I'm talking about. I know. I'm like, I ain't know I'm the only motherfucker. I know I'm not the only fucking black man in America know who the fuck Norm Macdonald is. Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald funny as shit. But I mean, I don't know if I would have Norm like on my Mount Rushmore, but my Mount Rushmore would probably be something like Richard Pryor. Shit, man. Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy, and then after that is debatable. Red Fox maybe, but generally Mount Rushmore is four people, right? So right, everybody knew him by his voice and shit. Yeah, man. So I ain't gonna be on here too long, but because like I said, I knew this was one of those videos. A lot of people are not gonna know who I'm talking about. The younger people, y'all gonna be like, I don't remember him. I don't know him. So it's definitely a generational thing. Like if you're my age, definitely a little older, you'll remember Norm Macdonald. You know what I'm saying? Um, Sad to hear that he had been sick for that long and had kept it private. no knowledge of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Had no idea that he was sick. You know, I do. Yeah, I have heard it about Wendy Williams that she the starting five. Yeah, I heard about Wendy Williams, man. She having some issues health wise. I think she had to cancel some type of uh was it a there was some type of event she was supposed to go to or be a part of. Um, she's in bad health. I just feel like that. She's in really bad health. Um, Whenever it gets to a point where somebody's like canceling events like that, it's bad. It's been a bad year for her anyway because didn't they cancel her show or put it on hiatus because of that segment she had when she was making fun of some rapper or some internet personality got killed or something? What's up, kid? Trunks 44. I think Norm. Oh, that's right. Norm Macdonald also was the voice of Death on Family Guy. I forgot about that. I think he was the initial voice of Death. Then I think he got replaced by Adam Carolla, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, man, Dirty Work is one of those funny underground comedies, man. That's like a hidden gem. You know what I'm saying? Basically, with Dirty Work, that's one of my favorite comedies ever, man. It's the last movie that Chris Farley did, if I'm not mistaken, before he died. It's the last movie that he actually did, and he's not credited in the movie. He plays Jimmy, and he has half a nose because a Saigon whore bit his nose off in an argument. But basically, I can't remember their damn names, but I can't remember the characters' names. But Artie Lang and Norm Macdonald. You know what? You know what, man? I gotta say this before I go further. If you go all the way back to 2010, right, when Artie Lang was going through all of that bullshit with his drug issues, and still throughout the 2000 teens, who would have ever thought that Artie Lang would outlive Norm Macdonald? But anyway, yeah, I remember that comedy. They played pretty much like two, I guess, loser type guys, man. They were in their 30s and they didn't really have anything going for them. And their father, well, Artie Lang's father, but then Norm Macdonald's character found out that Artie Lang's father was his father too, but he couldn't tell Artie at first. But anyway, they needed to donate. They needed to raise some money for his father to have this heart operation. They decided to do this revenge for hire business. And yeah, that movie's funny, man. Um, no, Dan DeVito was in that movie called Screwed. He was in that movie Screwed. He was a mortician. That's the movie that with Norm Macdonald played with Dave Chappelle. And that movie, Norm Macdonald was like a butler, but you might as well call him a fucking slave to that older lady. Can't remember the actor's name. Can't remember Elaine Stritch. Elaine Stritch. Stritch, I think her name was. She played like the owner and proprietor of these like I think she made these pies or something. She was like this uh multi-millionaire who had this business, but basically he was her fucking butler, and he was tired of her playing like basically treating her like shit. So I think he was supposed to have tried to make it seem like they were kidnapping the dog or something because she loved this dog and they was trying to extort money out of her. But it wound up that somehow they thought that it got to the point where they thought that he got kidnapped or some shit like that. It's been a while since I saw the movie, but that was funny too. I don't know about that, Tone. I ain't gonna even put that out there, man. I'm not even gonna go there with this video. I ain't even going there with this video. I ain't even. Mm-mm. I ain't even going there with this video with that one. Hey, I mean, scriptures. I can't really look. You know how Wendy Williams was, man. She created a lot of enemies, man. So it can be a lot of people saying what you're saying, and I can't really knock them. I can't really knock people for feeling that way about her. I remember what she did to Whitney Houston, and Whitney Houston called her out on that bullshit. I remember what Wendy Williams did to a lot of different people, spreading rumors, with no facts to back them up. You know, basically besmirching people without. Yeah, so it's a lot of shit she's done, man. I mean, Tom, but you gotta look at it like this too, man. He did have cancer, so it ain't like we're talking about a man who was healthy. Let's just say you're correct, and he took it, and that happened. He also had cancer for years. So, I mean, you can't really definitively say it was that. I mean, you could say, "Oh, that's kind of interesting that that happened at the same time," that or a little bit after that. But I mean, you just don't know, man. It's hard to say, man. Right. Oh yeah, yeah. His Burt Reynolds on Celebrity Jeopardy. Yeah. Yeah, that mess was funny too, man. That shit was funny as shit. I remember one where it was supposed to have been Burt Reynolds, Sean Connery, and Jerry Lewis. And one of the questions had to do with Smokey and the Bandit. No, 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 Cannonball Run. And he was so stupid, so dull minded, because all I'm supposed to be like stupid and shit, that he didn't even recognize his own movie. The old movie he was in, he didn't know shit. But he had an awesome Burt Reynolds impression, man. Yeah, Ryan, I saw the interview too. I saw the interview too with Method Man, and I'd be pissed too if my wife is being attacked by some woman and she going through cancer, and you putting out a lot of bullshit. I understand you going with that tone. I get it. You know, I just don't want it to. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to go into that rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? Not on this channel at all. At all on this channel. Not, not at all. Damn, man, that's just whatever. You know, I don't know, man. I just want to do a little video right quick to talk about Norm Macdonald. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan of comedy. I grew up, you know, I grew up like just listening to all types of comedic greats in the past. I love the old Saturday Night Live. This new Saturday Night Live, I don't really fuck with it. I don't get the humors. I don't know. It's just not my type of humor. You know, so I grew up listening, watching Saturday Night Live. I grew up watching Mad TV. I grew up watching, of course, In Living Color. You know what I'm saying? That's the standard, you know, that and the Chappelle show. So I love comedy, man. So I just wanted to give, you know, a tribute to one of the best comedians, I think, of his era, Norm Macdonald. He passed away at the age of 61. It's shocking news. Had no idea that he was sick. I'm gonna try to read a little bit more as to, you know, what's been going on with him the last couple of, you know, months or the last year or so. I hadn't really seen much of him lately. Now that I think about it. So, and like I said earlier in this live stream, I have noticed that his uh, appearance had changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like he looked a lot heavier, had this bloated look to him. Um, you know, so I don't know. I just always assumed that he was just taking some type of medication that was affecting him. But yeah, that's about right. After 2010, me personally, I liked the cast from '87 because I started watching Saturday Night Live like around '88. So I like the cast. I'm just going from '86 to '87 because that's when they came in. The cast that was there from '86 to about '95. That's the cast I grew up watching. But I still watch Saturday Night Live with Will Ferrell, Tina Fey, not Tina Fey, excuse me, Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry, Anna Gasteyer, Chris Kattan, Tracy Morgan. I still, you know, watch those guys into the early 2000s. Then you know, I still watched it up until about the late 2000 teens. Excuse me, about the late 2000s. But after that, I just, I just didn't like. I just started. I didn't like the humor anymore. I didn't really find much of it funny. Peachtree House, Pierce Brosnan and Will Ferrell. I remember. Yeah, wasn't that the one? Yeah. Wasn't that the one when Will Ferrell was like the worst fucking boss in the world? Like this motherfucker was like yelling at his opponent, yelling at his employees, and I think he wound up like, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he wind up beating the shit out of one of them? Like just like he was just a terrible, angry boss. And I think Pierce Brosnan was there for the interview. I do remember that one. Right. He stabbed him and shit. Hey, I remember it was episode of Saturday Night Live. I think it was like from '96, and David Alan Grier was the guest host, and it was a sketch where it was making fun of how much they have to rely on teleprompter, and it was like a morning show, and it was Will Ferrell, and it might have been Sherry or Terry or another one of the ladies, and I think David Alan Grier did the weather, and everything was going normally until the teleprompter stopped, and they were such like duds, and they had no ability that they couldn't ad lib or go on with the show without it. And it's like they just completely fell apart mentally. And then they got to the point where it was like an apocalyptic scene on the fucking set, and Will Ferrell and David Allen fucking started fighting each other and shit. And Will Ferrell ripped David Allen Grier's head off and rose up as a and headed up as a trophy and shit. And the fucking teleprompter came back on and shit. Yeah, that's true, LeBron is gloat. You know, a lot of our views on things are shaped starting in our childhood and things that we experience. A lot of our views in general just shaped by our experiences in in our formative years. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the people that we become has a lot to deal with our upbringing and our experiences and things that are implemented into us as we grow up. So life is biased. Yeah, it's like some people. It do seem like some people have a charmed life, man, and then some people it's like life just sucks, you know, and that's why you have some people that walk around all day with big smiles on their face, don't really complain. The things that are bothering them to keep to themselves, shit, maybe like the Norm Macdonald. And then you have some people who go out and kill 8 people because nobody want to touch their wiener. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go ahead and end this right now, man. I just want to put this out there about the passing of Norm Macdonald. You know what I'm saying? Funny guy. And I mean, Chadwick was like a box office, you know, phenom, man. But yeah, you're right in the sense that he kept it private. He kept it private, and nobody really knew what was going on. Although that last video that you saw of him, you knew something was wrong, you know. But a lot of people just said, well, he's losing a lot of weight for a role. So that sounds about right because we've seen 50 Cent do it, we've seen Christian Bale do it, we see a lot of various actors lose a lot of weight for a role. So yeah, that's explainable. Then when he died, you're like, well, what the fuck? You know? So um that's pretty much it, guys. I'm go ahead and log out here. Just wanted to tell y'all guys about this. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. Funny, funny guy.